This is a still image from The Last Temptation of Christ, directed by Martin Scorsese. Here on the left we have Willem Dafoe, who plays Jesus Christ, and on the right we have Harvey Keitel, who plays Judas. As you can see, Judas is a redhead. The Bible says nothing about Judas' hair color, but this obviously did not stop a lot of medieval artists from giving Judas flaming hair color in their paintings. As a matter of fact, by the time the Bible was being written, redheads had already got a lot of bad raps. The medieval artists were only following the tradition. Readers who are interested in the history of the redhead, here are two books for you. Red, A Natural History of the Redhead by Jackie Collis Harvey, and The Roots of Desire by Marianne Roach. In this video, I'll focus on a few red-haired women, as opposed to redhead men.
Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene.
Okay, as some of you know, this is not Jolene. This is Joan Crawford. In November 2018, I'm joining my friend Adam, the host of Memento Mori, in reading Mildred Pierce by James Cain. The novel was later adapted into a motion picture featuring Joan Crawford. The female protagonist, Mildred Pierce, is a redhead, and her daughter, Vida Pierce, is also a redhead. So I think it is fitting that they cast Joan Crawford, a redhead, to play this role. Redheads make frequent appearances on American screens. In one of the episodes of The Golden Girls, Sophia Petrillo was injured, and her daughter Dorothy Zbornak hired a nurse, Nurse Defarge, to help take care of her mother. The lively nurse quickly bonds with Sophia, so much so that Sophia begins to call her Pussycat, and this makes Dorothy really upset. So she tells the nurse, "I'm the real Pussycat. I'm Pussycat number 1. You are Pussycat number 2. Speaking of lively redhead, who can forget Peggy Bundy, the unconventional American wife, from Married with Children? Peggy loves her husband Al very much. Even though she's calculating and will do a lot of things behind his back to get what she wants, she's never physically abused him. We can't say the same thing about Anne, from Anne of the Green Gables. In this Japanese anime adaptation of the novel, Anne cracked the slate over Gilbert's head just because he wouldn't stop calling her carrots because of her hair color. It took Anne 5 or 6 years to eventually forgive Gilbert, who later on became a doctor and also Anne's lawful husband. By the way, in the 21st century, I think cracking a slate over someone's head begets lawsuit, not marriage. The symbolism and association of red hair embody a spectrum of characteristics and traits. A red-haired woman can be wild, unpredictable, crazy, and comical. At the same time, she's also very brave, intelligent, sexy and seductive, fierce, and even sinister. I think both Joan Crawford and the fictional character Mildred Pierce possess all these qualities. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Joan Crawford decided to audition for Mildred Pierce. She saw herself in Mildred Pierce. In Mildred Pierce, the relationship between Mildred and her daughter Vida is extremely complicated. And in reality, according to Christina Crawford, Joan Crawford's adopted daughter, their relationship was even more turbulent. Christina's tell-all was later adapted into a film, Mummy Dearest, featuring Faye Dunaway as Joan Crawford. I think this film is not family drama. It should be reclassified as a horror film. It is a petrifying example of how reality and fiction mirror each other. I think we all know the story quite well, so instead of focusing on the plot, I would like to talk about cinematography in the following. First, the gorgeous shower scene. The shower scene ends with this jump cut. I think this is very tongue-in-cheek and pun-intended transition. Previously, the water of desire, the fluidity of desire, all of a sudden becomes holy, with the nuns in the background. And then the director gradually shifts the shallow focus on the front of the water to the back, on Joan Crawford. This way, she remains the focus of the film. Speaking of water, Redhead, and the need for attention.
I want to be where the people are.
This is also the scene where she decides that she wants to become a mother. And she's a terrific mother, in the dual sense of the word. She can be affectionate, and she can be terrifying. This is the scene where Christina Crawford first comes to her family. The low-angle shot gives Joan Crawford an undeniable presence. This shot reminds me of a painting. This is Birth of Venus. Under Botticelli's pen, Venus is born as a redhead standing on a giant shell. The waves of her hair correspond nicely with the waves in the sea. Here, Joan Crawford is not less of a goddess. The drapery in the background looks like waves, and the arched window over her head is both an upside-down shell and a radiating light. This is another memorable scene from the movie. If I remember correctly, this is the first time where the mother loses her temper and gets physically violent. She picks up a pair of scissors and starts to cut Christina's hair. I know they had to take this scene a couple of times, because there is visible discontinuity. In some shots, the daughter's hair is long, in others, her hair short. I feel so bad for the child actor. In any case, I think this three-way mirror scene vividly captures the multiple sides of Joan Crawford. Directors, photographers, and painters, they all like to play with the mirror image. And here we have Nancy Kwan in the Flower Drum song. And it would be wrong to say women are vain and only women look at the mirror. This is Chaplin in the circus. And this is Cary Grant giving himself a close shave. This is a self-portrait of Norman Rockwell. The notion of self-referentiality has a long history in art. At first glance, you would think that these figures in the front are the subject of the painting. Look closely, you'll see that the painter paints himself into the painting. Look more closely, you will see a mirror in the back. The real subjects and the commissioners of the painting are in the mirror. Lastly, this is a familiar image published in 1892 by American illustrator Alan Gilbert. Gilbert calls this illustration "All is Vanity," a very telling memento mori and a very clever wordplay. This is Ginger Rogers gracing the cover of Movie Mirror. Ginger was Joan's contemporary. To better appreciate Joan Crawford as a movie star, a phenomenal actor, and to fully appreciate the depth and complexity of a redhead, we have to pay attention to every one of her work, if only because movie mirrors reality. Thank you for watching, and remember this if you don't remember the rest. No wire hangers.